Now, a shortage of silicon chips is forcing automakers to cut back on production. U.S. car giant Ford is now drastically reducing output of its top-selling F-150 pickup truck, while General Motors says it'll suspend work at 3 North American factories. The 2 U.S. car makers are the latest to react to what has become a global problem. Germany's Daimler, BMW and Volkswagen, as well as Toyota and many other car manufacturers, said that they will halt production at their factories due to the chip shortage. Now, this comes just as they began recovering from pandemic-forced plant shutdowns. Now, these semiconductor chips, they power everything from planes to cars to computers, and silicon wafers are a key component. Now, the market for these wafers, making them, has been dominated up until now by 5 companies. Siltronic of Germany is one of them, and Global Wafers of Japan as well. But now those 2 companies are joining forces. Global Wafers says its 4.4 billion euro bid for a controlling stake in Siltronic has been successful. Combined, they'll become the world's 2nd biggest silicon wafer producer at a time when need for the product has never been higher.
Semiconductors are in demand and money is cheap. Tech heavyweights have taken note and are on a shopping spree with their sights set on Europe's relatively small and affordable companies. After all, Europe is a huge market that's set to grow rapidly. That's why 2 companies changed ownership this week. German microchip maker Dialog now has Japanese owners, while silicon wafer producer Siltronic was snapped up by a Taiwanese firm. British-based chip designer ARM is also the target of a takeover bid. NVIDIA in the U.S. wants to buy it for 33 billion euros. Authorities could still intervene. 18 EU member states declared the semiconductor industry as strategically important back in December. The industry is set to receive billions in EU subsidies to maintain Europe's technological independence. The world's chip makers are mainly concentrated in Asia with a 70% market share. The world's largest supplier, TSMC, is based in Taiwan. American firms have a roughly 20% share of the market, while Europe lags behind at 8%. European firms long underestimated the importance of microchips. Just take cars and trucks. Europe long specialized in high-quality mechanical engineering, but today's vehicles are increasingly resembling drivable computers. Europe has neglected the semiconductor industry, long seen as low-margin and volatile. That's now become the continent's Achilles heel.
For more, let's bring in our business correspondent, Chelsea Delaney. Chelsea, we heard about the troubles the shortage of semiconductors are causing to the auto industry in particular. Will this deal now help resolve the problem?
No, the shortage in semiconductors is likely to last for several more months at the very least, despite these mergers. And this is particularly a problem for the auto industry because we've seen a huge increase in demand for semiconductors as there's been a boom in sales of home tech equipment, people moving to home office, people buying things like PlayStations. And it's much more profitable for semiconductor makers to make the products for that tech equipment instead of the auto equipment. That's a very low margin business. So all of the capacity right now is being directed at the home tech market. And so these mergers that we're seeing, it will in the long term likely boost production. But for now, automakers are really low down on the priority list for semiconductor makers. And it takes a long time to ramp up capacity.
Now, Chelsea, in a different aspect of the story, German political leaders have been worried recently about German companies, including their technology, being taken over by foreign players. Now, what's the mood regarding this takeover of Siltronic by Global Wafers?
It's definitely causing anxiety both here in Berlin and at the broader EU level because the EU really is pushing forward with digitalization. That's really the future they see, and that future is dependent on access to chips. And the EU doesn't want to be dependent on Asia or the US for access to semiconductors because we've seen how that technology can be used as a pawn in some of these geopolitical conflicts like we've seen between the US and China in the past few years. So the EU really wants to secure its own independent base of chips, and deals like this raise concern that that's not going to be possible.
Chelsea Delaney, thank you.